I'm Heila Lotz-Sisitka, working here at Rhodes University in the Environmental Learning Research Centre, where I coordinate a research chair focusing on transformative social learning and green skills learning pathways. We've been working here at the centre for the last 25 years on this particular research area and focus. Over that time, we've developed quite a lot of partnerships across both South Africa, across the Southern African region, in Africa and also internationally. We've been particularly focusing on postgraduate research, so we've had quite a large number of master's students and also PhD students that have graduated through our programs here. Our postgraduate students come from South Africa, from across Africa, and we've also been very much involved in international activities such as the United Nations Decade on Education for Sustainable Development. And also we supported the SADC Regional Environmental Education Program for quite a number of years, particularly providing research support, where we coordinated a network of 10 Southern African universities which were looking at issues of sustainability, education and learning, and particularly we developed this idea of learning as connection in that particular program. The T-Learning program is a very exciting program for us. We applied for the seed funding grant, and we were one of 40 groups that were allocated a seed fund. And the seed fund was meant to support people to develop a bigger program proposal. So we then managed to bring our partners together during the seed funding period, and we managed to design our T-Learning project. T-Learning, as we are using it in the project, is focusing on the concept of transformative but also transgressive learning. And what we mean by that is we're trying to explore different concepts and approaches to transformative learning, particularly in terms of climate change. The Southern African region is one of the regions that's most at risk of the impacts or to the impacts of climate change. And so we really need to find new ways of encouraging people in society to learn how to respond to these kinds of issues. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, in their last 2014 report, have indicated that learning is one of the areas which is very important for transformations to sustainability, but that not a lot is known about the type of learning that we need to engage in or how to support such learning. So this is what we're hoping to research in this program. We have a fantastic international network that we've been able to bring together. We have colleagues from the Netherlands, we have colleagues from Ethiopia, colleagues from Zimbabwe, colleagues from Colombia, colleagues from Vietnam, colleagues from Sweden, and of course Malawi, where there's a very big program run by LEAD Southern Africa on climate change adaptation. So we've managed to bring together really excellent researchers to work with us. And what's exciting about the program is that the researchers are both from academic institutions but also from social movements and from NGOs. So we are a multidisciplinary type of team. Also our researchers are both from environmental sciences, social sciences, political sciences, and we're able to therefore bring quite a lot of different perspective to this question of T-learning. Our own work is located in the educational sciences, which I think is very important, because if you're wanting to understand learning, it's really important to be able to draw on the history of research into learning, so we're able to do that. It's a great honor for us to be leading a big international program like this, and we are involving quite a number of our postgraduate students. We've just had the first international research school, at which we had 30 participants. Some of them were our international partners, but others were also our postgraduate students. And there's a lot of excitement amongst the postgraduates for this program. So we're hoping that it's going to generate some really interesting research. The South African case study in this project is quite an interesting one, because it's actually a case study of case studies in the sense that we are looking at learning networks, different types of learning networks, and how learning occurs in the different transformative learning occurs in learning networks. So there are different groups that are working in these different learning networks, and then what we'll do is to look at research across the different learning networks. So one of the learning networks is, for example, a learning network that we call the Amanzi for Food learning network. Amanzi means water, so it's a network of people that are focusing on water for food, and their issue is really trying to look at the nexus of water, food security and climate change, and look at the learning challenges at that interface. So we have agricultural college lecturers, we have local economic development officers, we have farmers, we have farmer associations, we have extension services, and they all are working together in this learning network to try to introduce rainwater harvesting conservation practices. And we've been looking and we're studying the type of learning that's going on in that learning network. Then we have another learning network which is coming up in the Gauteng area, in an urban municipal area. The Johannesburg municipality are trying to develop a climate change adaptation policy and strategy. And so they have a diverse group of people that are working together to establish that policy and the practices associated with that. So that will be a second learning network that we'll also be looking at. Then we have a third one, which is focusing on the grassroots activist groups that are working with the South African Water Caucus. And we've been supporting a changing practice course in that learning network. But it's an interesting course because it's a practical social learning course. And so we're studying some of the work in that particular learning network as well. And then we've got another learning network, which is a group of youth activists in an organization called Activate. And one of our PhD scholars is working on that learning network and trying to understand how youth are able to, think about and produce new concepts and new meaning around sustainability challenges in their context as they, think about these nexus issues between climate change, social justice, their future, and so on. So that's what our project will be about.